Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona, and I'm going to take an in-depth look at my TimeformUS Highlight Horse on Thursday at Belmont Park. It's the feature race on that card, the Manila Stakes, going a mile on the turf for the 3-year-olds, and we'll take a look at the entire lineup for this race, and it's a pretty interesting field of 9 runners. You see the morning line favorite is the number 8, Maroon. I pegged him at 3-1 on the morning line as a slight favorite. We're not sure if he's actually going to run in this race because his trainer Todd Pletcher has said that he might prefer to run in the Belmont Derby on Saturday. So we'll see where he ends up choosing to run, but he would be the horse to beat if he participates in this spot. Before we get into an in-depth discussion of his PPs, though, I want to take a look at the TimeformUS pace projector of this race just to get a sense of how this race is going to unfold in the early stages. And you'll notice the number 4 horse, Polesetter, is predicted to be on the lead. Now, this is not a pace projector that is predicting to favor any particular running style. There's no red bar or blue bar or gray bar predicting a fast pace or a situation favoring a front runner. But you do want to note that Polesetter is a front-running type, and the horses that are right in behind him are not necessarily horses that are predicted to be challenging for the early lead. Horses like number 5, Casa Creed, is more of a closer. The 6, Fog of War, who wants to come from just off the pace, though he is getting blinkers for the first time. And the number 8, Maroon, the favorite in this race, has some tactical speed, but he's shown it in longer races around 2 turns in slower pace situations, so he's likely to light just off the pace in this 1-turn mile affair. We'll take a look at that likely favorite, Maroon, and his past performances. He is the horse to beat, and I think if he runs his best race, he's going to win. His best race was 2 back when he won the Woodhaven Stakes at Aqueduct over yielding ground. He earned a 113 TimeformUS speed figure that day. That kind of number is probably going to get it done against this field. The question with Maroon is what happened last time when he was a little disappointing in the Pennine Ridge, finishing 5th that day. In my opinion, he probably just didn't want to go the 1.125 distance. I've always had some concerns about distance limitations for this horse because he's a son of Oasis Dream, who's more of a sprint sire, and he's got such a great turn of foot, a really powerful finish, but he's used it better going a mile. So he should appreciate getting back to the 1-mile distance in this race. I wouldn't like him so much in the Belmont Derby stretching out to 1.25 miles. I do think this is the right spot for him. It's just he's probably going to take a lot of money in this spot, and I don't think he's got a huge edge over this field. Also, he's probably going to be rating just off of the pace, and he's going to have to pass horses, whereas his impressive win 2-back was accomplished in gate-to-wire fashion. So I do think Maroon is the horse to beat and the most likely winner. I just don't want to accept a very short price on a horse in what is a pretty competitive field. The other horse that's likely to attract a lot of support in this race is the number 7, Win, who does have some name cachet since he participated in the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes earlier in the year. Now, this horse is making his turf debut in this spot, and it's pretty tough to make your turf debut in a stakes race like this, but Win does have the credentials to do so because he proved his class earlier in the year, winning that fast speed figure in the Pasco Stakes all the way back in January. He was placed in some graded stakes derby preps earlier in the year, so he definitely classes up against this field. The question for him is the turf. In terms of pedigree, he definitely is bred to handle it because he's by Hat Trick, who is way more of a turf sire than a dirt sire. It's actually kind of odd that Win was as proficient on dirt as he was, given that he is by Hat Trick. And while his dam side pedigree kind of goes either way, his dam was more of a dirt horse. She is a half-sister to a graded stakes winner on the turf, so there's definitely turf pedigree in the second generation of his female family. So Win definitely has the pedigree and the class and speed figures to compete at this level. It's just how short of a price do you want to take on a horse that's trying something new for the first time, no matter how well he's bred to do it? So I think Win is a horse that you definitely have to use defensively in this race. I just don't want to make it my pick at what is also likely to be a short price. Ultimately, I'm going back to Polesetter. I liked this horse last time in the Paradise Creek when he won at 4-1, and I think he's landing in another really good spot. I showed that pace projector that had him on the lead. I think he's going to be able to control this pace once again. Now, looking at the TimeformUS speed figure for his last race in the Paradise Creek, you see he only got a 100 figure. That's not going to get it done in this spot, but I think there are some reasons why that number is a little bit lower. The early pace of that race was pretty slow. Some of the fractions are color-coded in blue, so he just often races that start out so slowly like that, it's hard for turf horses to quicken up enough to earn faster speed figures by the time they get to the finish, and I think that's what happened to all of the horses coming out of the Paradise Creek. As you see, other horses like Fog of War and Pulsate also have lower numbers than some others coming out of that Paradise Creek Stakes, but Polesetter did show that he was capable of running a faster speed figure in his prior start, albeit on the dirt, when he earned a 116 in that race at Keeneland, an allowance race back in April. If he can transfer that kind of number to the turf, he's going to be really tough to beat in this spot. I like his recent workouts on the turf for Brad Cox. It seems like all of Brad Cox's runners have been running really well at this meet, and we can just wrap it up by taking a look at his win last night out in the Paradise Paradise Creek, the final quarter mile of this race, and you'll see that he comes into the stretch on the lead. Fog of War was already under a drive by this point. I do want to point out the horse all the way on the outside, Pulsate, who does run on well to be second in this race. He's the one that kind of overcomes that situation that was favoring the frontrunner Pulsetter in this race. But Pulsate's going to have to step up and run a faster race, whereas Pulsetter, as I mentioned, has already done it on the dirt. I just like the way Pulsetter's finishing off this race. The win was never really in doubt. He's striding out really well for the finish. I don't have any doubt that he's going to be able to get the 1 mile distance, going the one turn at Belmont Park. These turf courses have gotten very hard and firm, and while I don't think they're really speed favoring, it does make speed very dangerous if they're able to slow down the fractions up front, and I think Pulsetter is going to be able to do that. I made him 9-2 on the morning line. I'm hoping to get a price around that. Obviously, if Clint Maroon doesn't run in this race, that price is going to drop quite significantly, but I think Pulsetter is not going to be the favorite in this race. That will likely go to win or Clint Maroon. So if he offers a little bit of value at around the 7-2, 4-1, 9-2 range, I think Pulsetter is the horse you want to bet in the Manila Stakes on Thursday at Belmont Park.